Thank you for tuning in today. My name is Ted Broer, and I'm here today with my wife, Sharon Broer. Today we're going to talk about reversing the aging process, or how you can seem to reverse the aging process. We're going to tell you natural alternatives to lower blood pressure, cholesterol, triglycerides, and blood sugar. And really important, when we talk about blood sugar, we're going to talk about adult onset diabetes and natural things that you can do to help your body not to become diabetic. And if you do have adult onset diabetes, how we can work with your doctor, you can work with your doctor to get off of the insulin if you are taking insulin. So we've got a lot of great information coming your way today. Now, one of the things I always ask folks when I do big seminars around the world, I always say, how many of you listening today want to lower blood pressure, cholesterol, triglycerides, blood sugar, burn body fat, and feel absolutely great? Let me see your hands. And that's what I'm asking you today, everyone who's watching the show, because I want you to realize you can feel good and you can look good and have tremendous energy, but there's certain choices and certain decisions you've got to make on an ongoing basis. And they say, well, the little things that we do really don't affect us. The little things make a big difference. And for those of you who don't believe that little things can make a big difference, you've never obviously had a mosquito come into your bedroom at night when you're trying to sleep. The mosquito will make a really big difference when you're trying to sleep, just like these little things will make a big difference in your life. So we're going to talk about the top 20 ways to basically reverse the aging process and feel absolutely great today. We probably aren't going to have enough time to finish it all, but we're going to do the best we possibly can. Now, let me read you a couple statistics first of all. There are 77 prescription drugs that have been proven to cause senile dementia. 77 prescription drugs when you go into a nursing home or you get sick or you get older that have been proven to cause dementia. There are 166 drugs that have been proven to cause depression, 156 drugs that cause psychosis and make you hallucinate. There are 181 drugs that should never be prescribed for seniors whatsoever, forever, because of what it does to the brain. There are 250,000 seniors who are drugged in memory loss and dementia every single year into nursing homes, and 75% of memory loss in seniors is caused by the drug side effects. Now, that's an amazing statistic, but that's something that we know we need to realize. I know with my own mother, there was another doctor who had power of attorney over my mother when she was admitted into the nursing home, and I watched a vibrant woman who basically run her own business up until the day she had fallen and broken her foot, because we'll talk about why that happens with osteoporotic fractures, be admitted into a nursing home but couldn't care for herself anymore. And I watched the mental deterioration happen so quickly, and there was nothing that I could do about it legally. It was very frustrating to me. All I would do is go into the hospital and then into the nursing home and get into arguments with the doctor. So friends, let's not let that happen to any of our loved ones. And friends, it's so important that you understand this. Your health is your responsibility. It's not my responsibility. It's not even your attending physician's responsibility. It is your own responsibility. And folks need to realize that, you know, you've got to start making healthier choices. It's like stepping off a 10-story building and saying, I don't believe in the law of gravity. Well, I got bad news for you. You know, you're going to have a really negative experience for a few seconds, okay? And the reality is you can determine your choices, but you can't determine the consequences. There are certain things, if you do them on an ongoing basis, are going to cause all kinds of health problems in your life and all kinds of health problems in your family's life. So let's try to avoid those. So number one thing we need to do, let's talk about our grandparents, Sharon. You know, what's interesting to me is people are always saying how people live longer today, statistically, than they do 100 years ago. And the truth of the matter is, statistically, it is skewed that way. But here's what I need to share with you. 100 years ago, 150 years ago, a lot of children died in childbirth. A lot of children died when they were young. And when you take young children who are 1 or 2 years of age and they die, they skew the average life expectancy down considerably. Perfect example. If you have a child who dies at birth and you have a person who lives to be 100 years old, and you take those two and you add them together, divided by 2, the average life expectancy is 50. Here's the difference. Right now in this country, they're saying that over 50% of the population, when they reach the age of 70, will have senile dementia or Alzheimer's disease. Wow. That's in our generation alone. And I personally believe it's because of all the drugs, all the chemicals, all the things that are in the environment that we've talked about on so many other shows with Pastor Benny. Now, here's what's important that you understand. People think, well, if we're living longer today, why has the standard and the quality of our life gone down so much? Let me give some another interesting statistics. Let me read you this. This is the prescribing harm came on over the local newspapers. It says, it's out of the USA Today. It says that 70% of doctors who treat Medicare patients flunked an exam on prescribing to the elderly. 32,000 hip fractures are attributed to prescribing that leaves the elderly sedated or unbalanced. 37% of people older than 60 are taking 5 or more prescription drugs a day. And 19% of the people over the age of 60 are taking 7 or more prescription drugs a day. I mean, think about that for a second. All of these seniors are being drugged and drugged and drugged and drugged. And I see the constant, every time they go to the doctor or they go to the medical professionals, they're given constant barrages of tests. And these tests, many times, have worse side effects than the condition they're being tested for. And same thing with the drugs you see on the TV every evening on the evening news. They say, wow, if you take this drug, you can get rid of your allergies. Well, the reality is the side effects of the allergy medication in some cases are worse than the allergies themselves. Back in the 1800s, we ate organic, fresh food. But at the turn of the century, the last 100 years ago, after the Industrial Revolution, what happened is we started having people move back into the cities, and there was no way to feed the cities very efficiently because the farm stuff that was being shipped back into cities was spoiling in transit. So they had to find a way to process the grains and get the nutrients out of it so it wouldn't spoil. So they developed white flour, which is one of the biggest things they've ever done to destroy the population. They've also started taking a lot of the essential fats out, started giving us more and more sugar. I know 200 years ago, we ate like an average of 3 or 4 pounds of sugar per person per year. It was a luxury. Now we eat over 160 pounds of sugar per person per year. It's absolutely horrible what we've done to our system. And sugar also precipitates calcium. People don't realize that. You have osteoporotic fractures when you eat a lot of sugar. And folks don't understand, and I didn't understand, and most of our grandparents didn't understand, that when you start to mess around with the food supply, you have chronic degenerative diseases. And we start to end up with cancer and heart disease and all these different types of problems when you're 30, 40, and 50.
Epidemic levels.
Epidemic levels. Millions and millions of people.
Yes.
So friends, listen to me. It's not a question of, hey, if I do this, this, and this, will I live longer? Well, you probably will, but here's the reality. We've got like 20 points we're going to go through today. But the point is this. If you do this, this, and this, what will happen is you'll feel better while you're here,
That's right.
if that makes any sense. I mean, I feel great all of the time. My wife feels great all of the time. I mean, I'm a scuba diver. I work out on a regular basis. I'm active. And we go out, we do things with our family. And it's important that everybody understands that you don't have to have a disease, sedentary life in which you feel horrible every single day of your life, wondering what you're going to do tomorrow because you don't have enough energy to get out of bed today. Let me give you another example. Cholesterol is very, very important in your blood. You have to have cholesterol to make hormones, to make testosterone. I always tell folks, if your cholesterol is not over 200, over 250, I wouldn't worry about it. If you're over 250, you need to do something about it. But remember, cholesterol is absolutely critical to be healthy. You have to have it to produce hormones. You have to have it for all kinds of other chemical reactions in the body. Your body has to use the cholesterol in your system to make vitamin D with your skin when you go out into the sun. And folks don't realize that if you don't get enough cholesterol, enough fat in your diet, you can't stay healthy. Very, very important. If people are taking these cholesterol-lowering medications now, they're lowering their testosterone levels, their brains are turning to mush, they can't think anymore, and as far as I'm concerned, it's completely overprescribed. See, it used to be a few years back, if your cholesterol was 250, they said it was fine. Then they changed it to 200. Then they said that wasn't good enough. Now they've taken it down to 150, which is ridiculous. And it aggravates the hound out of me when I see stuff like that because I know it's simply not true. So let's go ahead and talk about good quality protein, number one. One of the biggest things that happens to us as we age is our muscles begin to deteriorate. Now, every time we drink water and our bodies have to expel the water out of our system, we lose nitrogen. It's through urea. And when we don't get enough nitrogen into our bodies by the food that we eat from good quality protein, we start losing muscle. It's very important that you understand that. And so we have to have a good, high quality protein every single morning when we get up. Because when we get up in the morning, our cortisol levels are high, which is a stress hormone. It makes us wake up. And so if our bodies don't get good quality protein, it starts digesting our lean muscle mass. And that's why we lose about 7% of our lean muscle mass every 10 years as we age. That's why you see the elderly, they have little frail arms, little frail legs. Number one, they don't get sufficient quantities of protein, high quality protein. We use an excellent protein out of Australia. It's a whey protein, actually it's out of New Zealand. It's a phenomenal product. And we give it to the kids every morning, and we take it every day.
Yeah, and you know, when I changed over to that and I started taking it, I noticed in the gym my strength increased, and it was so nice because I noticed I was getting a little weaker and I needed to work out harder.
And you increased your lean muscle mass. I know Sharon's a black belt in karate. In fact, a couple of years ago, she won the U.S. Open in weapons competition, and I'm proud of my whole family. And it's just that I watch her every day in the gym doing push-ups. And I'm like, wow, this is really impressive doing push-ups, you know, and she's, 51 years old. But see, the lean muscle mass.
I mean, how many women, when it's time, gets warm and you start wearing sleeveless and you start, your arms start jiggling.
That's right.
And the only way that I felt like I could do was just start doing more and more push-ups and start with maybe 5 a day, then move up to 10, and then do maybe 15 a week, and then 20 a week, and just keep going, and you'll find your strength gets better, and the protein that we take really helps increase that.
And of course, as we mentioned on other shows, the studies that were shown, like eggs are an excellent source of protein. The studies that were done using eggs they were using basically powdered dried egg yolks, which is unbelievably bad for you, to try to prove that it raised cholesterol, and of course it does. Eggs have never been proven to raise cholesterol at all. So we eat eggs every single day. It's great for you. The yolk has a lot of sulfur. It's good for skin, nails, for hair. Absolutely critical.